Would you rather retire at 40 and live off $30,000 per year for the rest of your life, or retire at 60 and live off $60,000 per year for the rest of your life? I'll give you a moment to think about it. To be honest, there's no right or wrong answer, but if you're anything like me, you would have chosen option 1, to retire at 40 and live off $30,000 per year for the rest of your life. The main reason why I choose option 1 is simply because I put more value on the freedom to do what I like, when I like, and however I like, as opposed to earning money that exceeds the amount that I need to meet my basic needs and then some. Everybody talks about work, but not enough people talk about retirement. More specifically, how much paper, money, dough, dosh that you need in order to retire. It's actually pretty simple, and it involves something called the 25x rule. Before we get started on the 25x rule, it's super important to understand 2 key concepts when we're thinking of retirement. The first of which is mini retirements, and the second, let's call it normal retirement. I first came across the idea of mini retirements when I read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week. I actually have it. 4-Hour Work Week. Might have to do a book review in due course. He basically alludes to the idea of working for a set period of time, stacking up as much money as you can, moving to a beautiful country for a few months to a year where everything is a lot cheaper. On top of that, the book touches on having all of your work outsourced to virtual assistants and all of that, so you don't need to do any work. That's why it's called the 4-Hour Work Week. This is all good and well, however, not everyone has that luxury. I mean, it would work for YouTubers, people that work for themselves, entrepreneurs that just need a laptop and an internet connection, but for the majority, that luxury isn't something that everyone comes across. And I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind working out of Bali or Mauritius right now, but last time I checked, there was this mad virus going around, like...
So we are saying, don't go to work, go to work. Don't take public transport, go to work, don't go to work. Stay indoors. If you can work from home, go to work. Don't go to work. Go outside, don't go outside. And then we will or won't something or other.
In all honesty, I'm actually quite fortunate in that I'm not tied to any predetermined working hours. I can wake up when I want, work as late as I want, work on what I want, and basically live life on my own terms. And for that, I'm very grateful, alhamdulillah. Having said that, it does come with a lot of career risk, a lot of pressure, and a lot of expectations. And so the problem with the mini retirement is that 99% work a 9 to 5 or for a company who determine what they work on and when they work. Jeez, man, switching up the angles now. Okay, I see you. Okay, where we at? So this brings me on to concept number 2, normal retirement. This is where you work your whole life, retire when you get old, when you have less energy, less things to spend your hard-earned money on, get closer to the second guaranteed thing in life after taxes, of course, which is death, and then you eventually die. This is arguably the worser of the 2 types of retirement, but the one that most of us tend to fall into. And the reason for that is not no one's fault, it's just the way the system is built, it's just the way the system works, how we've been taught in school, and how the companies that employ us tend to survive. If, for example, every single person watching this video decided to become self-employed and do their own thing and not work for a company, companies would struggle. And so a salary and the various perks that come with it is basically the amount of money and benefits that you're willing to accept in order to forego your own interests for a minimum of 50 out of 168 hours in your week. So we touched on mini retirements and normal retirement. There's actually one other type of retirement, and this is where the 25x rule comes in. The third type of retirement is early retirement, so retiring at 50, 40, 30, before 65, for example, and having enough money to sustain a balanced living from the point of retirement all the way up until you die. This video is kindly being sponsored by no one. Yep, you heard that right. If you're watching this video and you want to reach an engaged audience of 16 to 35-year-olds across the US, the UK, Europe, and the rest of the world, do get in touch. Everything you need to get in touch is in the video description below, and we'll see how we can work together. Now let's get back to retirement. Another angle. Jeez, check you out. 3 angles for one video, you know. Madman. All right, the effort I'm going to for the subscribers. If you're watching this, make sure you subscribe. Mic is there. Drop the seat a bit. See my hair. Should I go a bit back? What looks better, here or here? Closer I get, the more the background gets blurred, which looks sick. Focus. There we go. That's sick. But the further back I go, you get more of me in the frame. Mic check, mic check. I think we'll do here. Here's good. All right, let's go. So how do you get to retire early? It's pretty simple. The 25x rule states the following. The amount of money that you need to retire is 25 times your annual living expenses or costs. So not your annual income, so if you earn 50k a year, not that. It's the annual expenditure, how much you're spending in order to live every single year. This might include things like a mortgage or rent, food, bills, travel, so on and so forth. The best way to illustrate this is, of course, with an example. So that's what we're gonna do now. There's an individual, they spend $30,000 a year to survive. So that's £22,000 every year on food, mortgage, rent, luxuries, travel, so on and so forth. $30,000 times 25 is $750,000, or £22,000 times 25 is £550,000. So in order for that individual to retire, they would need to save $750,000, or if they're in the UK, £550,000 in order to retire. Now, how long will that take? So let's keep in mind, as you go along in your career, as you progress, your annual income is going to increase, right? Initially, when you start your career, it's going to be low, but as time goes on, you're going to be able to save more and more. So let's say over time, you're able to save $30,000 every single year, or £22,000 every single year. If you can do that, it will take you 25 years of saving constantly in order to get to your retirement figure. So for a person that is spending $30,000 every year on living costs, they would need to save $30,000 every year for 25 years in order to get to their magic number, which is $30,000 times 25, which is $750,000. Every single person is going to have a different number. So you, if you're a student, your living costs are going to be $10,000, $15,000, probably less, probably more, we don't know. Depends on your living situation, right? And so if you calculate how much you spend every year, multiply that by 25, that's your target number.
Surprise!
It's meant to act as a guide, something for you to target. Over time, you should aim to save that much. Things will fluctuate, but if you don't have that number in the back of your head, it's going to be harder to focus on a figure to kind of get you in the retire early mindset. A very, very, very important rule is the following. In order to halve the time to retirement, you need to double your rate of saving. To halve your time to retirement, double your rate of saving, and it works the other way. If you want to lengthen or double your time to retirement, just half the amount you're saving. So if you save less, you can expect to retire later. If you save more, you can expect to retire sooner. This is something that so many people don't think about. All those, designer materials that you spend on just to impress your friends, or that extra Starbucks every other day, that adds up. That's eating away from your savings. That's eating away from you potentially retiring early. Now, I'm not saying skimp on every single area of your life, but just make better financial spending decisions in order to help you prioritize an earlier retirement. Yes, for those of you saying, this 25x model assumes a constant rate of expenditure, that is true, it does assume that. However, it's known that naturally in one's life, there will be huge expenses like a house or a mortgage, but over time, once you hit your 40s or 50s, your annual expenses tend to actually decrease. So the second part of your life tends to be cheaper or less expensive than the first part or the first 2/3 of your life. And so your annual expenditures actually trickle down and reduce as time goes on. Now, some of you, the smart asses, might be thinking, whoa, I wasn't born yesterday. And, assuming 25 years, wait a second.
How is this not a pyramid scheme? All right, let me explain again.
Saving annual expenses worth up to 25 years will only see me forward or into the future for 25 years. So if I retire at 50 and that money will see me through to 75, what am I meant to do after that? Or if I retire at 40 and my money sees me to 65, what am I meant to do after that? What about the rest of my life? To be fair, that's a very good point, and it's a reasonable point to mention. And the truth is, the 25x rule is only half of the equation. It's the hardest part, and that's why I wanted to mention it today, because it's the part that's in your control. The 25x rule comes part and parcel with the second part of the retire early formula, and that is the magical 4% rule. But we'll save that for next time. The 25x rule helps you know what to aim for, to have at the back of your mind rather than working endlessly and forgetting about potentially retiring a lot earlier than you might actually be able to do. All it takes is a plan. What gets written gets done. Persistence, never giving up. Consistency, showing up every day, and compounding returns, getting 1% better every single day. Because when you're saving and thinking about an earlier retirement, that money that you're saving every week or every month is gonna add up over time. And that is when you see the magical return of the 4% rule that I'm going to talk about in a future video. If there's one thing that you can take from this video, let it be this. To halve your time to retirement, double your rate of saving. The more frugal you are, the faster you can get to retirement. Lastly, I want to end with two simple questions for you. How often do you think about retirement? or even retiring early. Trust me, I know it can be a daunting, scary and depressing subject to talk, let alone think about, but I know it's definitely something we should all be thinking more of. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts on retirement in the comments. Peace. Done.